Hey guys, how's it going? It is Kyrie here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the current meta for the final week right before the PQ season finally officially starts. So this is for the weekend for November 28th to November 30th here. We're just going to be covering these tournaments. And, again, this is going to be a big, massive grain of salt here, but I think this is going to be the best indicator for what we could at least kind of see for the meta going forward, especially if you're looking to prepare for a PQ next week. This is what you're probably going to see, for the most part. So we'll have this to go through. We're going to go through each tournament and see the top 8 results, and then we're also going to go to the Swoot stats to see the most popular decks that are being played online. But a lot of this data is something to be taken with a grain of salt. I was thinking it'd be fun to go through this in real time with you guys and just check out what the meta is looking like currently here in Star Wars Unlimited. So the first tournament in New Zealand, 31 players, so not the most competitive tournament here, and very close to Thanksgiving. So a tournament this close to a holiday season, you can look at it two ways. Maybe more people showed up because it's the holiday weekend, or less people did because they're all with their family. But here it is, 31 players. A few things stand out here that are a little unexpected. First one being Lamassu, top 3, which is crazy. We'll check out that deck list here in a second. And Sabe. Now that I'm in a video here, I'm going to be self-conscious how to pronounce it. Sabe? Okay, so it's Sabe. According to this, Sabe. Okay, so we got Sabe, and we have Lamassu, which are pretty unexpected. I think there was quite a bit of hype for Sabe going into this set. I was hoping this character would do better because I did pull her showcase. I was hoping to sell that, but hopefully we could get some more top 8s here to boost those numbers up. So let's take a look. We got Quinlan winning and Han Green in the top 2. That's pretty standard. Kind of interesting. And we also have Akira Red. This also had a lot of hype going into set 6 in particular with Top of the Summit. So we'll take a look at that list, because even though that there, I do find it interesting that it is a Force deck as well. So we'll definitely take a look. So, but everything else here seems pretty standard besides the Cassian Andor. I think there has been, we've seen it around. It's not too crazy, but let's take a look at this Lamassu because I think this is nuts. Here we go. Okay, so we got blue, red villain. A lot of the big highlights you would normally expect in something like this. But some of the tech that I think would be interesting, especially playing against this deck, is some of the breakpoints that you might find by being able to play like Nimble Prowess for free. Maybe some Vambrace Grapple Shot in combination with these grit units could be really tricky to play against. But this is something I really want to try out because I think this is super cool. We also got some grit here and that are Sindel. I think that could be really frustrating. I think this is cool. I like that there's a very unique deck here placing well. Not sure how well it would have done, in a bigger tournament. But this is something I'm really looking forward to playing already. Just something new. Let's take a look at the matchups here. So lost to Akira, then beat a Piet. That's a pretty good deck that it won 2-1. And we got Luthen, Phasma, Sabine, Sabe, and then lost in the top 8 to the guy that probably looks like he's the guy that took second. So kind of submarined his way through. Lost against the 2 meta picks, and then beat all the off meta, and then lost to meta again. So not as exciting as I was hoping for, but expected for something like this. So let's go back to the tournament. Let's check out the Akira. Anything crazy here? Got the topples on Force, which I find kind of interesting. This is another one that I would like to play. You got the Cad Bane flip, which is pretty standard. Chams in the side. Could go Force Lightning for 1 cost is fantastic. This is another one. I like the innovation here. I think this would be really cool to check out as well. And then we got finally Sabe. I think this is mostly standard from what people see in these particular lists. I played this a lot when set 6 came out. I would say I was whelmed with this deck. It's pretty, it does have some cool plays. at the end of the day, you are kind of curating what they're drawing, and sometimes they'll just get there even though you see what you're hitting. A lot of hand disruption, faith in your friends, into being able to go wide is pretty good. Having like triple disruption potential by being able to disrupt their draws, Cura, and then I really like the Star Path unit. That this is a really cool card. Like, there's a lot of potential here. I want to just play more games of this just because it's a fun deck. It didn't feel unfair. Like the real meta decks right now like feel just super powerful, whereas this just felt balanced for the most part. And then in some matchups, it just gives frack. Cool to see it top 8 here, even though it is a smaller tournament. But I love the kind of change up in new leaders here instead of the standard stuff we always see. I think that's all I really want to check out for this one. I mean, we could check out Cassian, but let's move on. This video will take forever if I keep going. So we got just the top 5 here. Only 25 players in this one. It looks like it was just 5 rounds of Swiss, so I'm not really like the other one had a top 8, so I'm more inclined to check that one out. Whereas this one, basically every standard deck you would see, you got the Han1 Green. I think this is the best deck in the format probably right now. At least it has the best overall matchups in my opinion. We're seeing it constantly not only do well in these, but like win these style events. It's a really cold take to say that, but that's how I'm feeling. Got the Boba Fett, Gar, Anakin, and Admiral Thrawn, Data Vault, all things that you would potentially expect. If you look at this, every single base here is green. We're seeing quite a bit of green takeover here in the early set 6 meta. So I'm just gonna move on to the next tournament. This is one of the smaller ones too. I think this might be the smallest one. 25. No, there is a 13, so we'll probably move even faster here. So then we got another one, just 4 rounds of Swiss. Nothing too crazy here. Just a lot of Sabine, Han 2 ECL. Got the Palpatine yellow. Let's see if there's anything new here from the new set. I would assume it looks like a dude that just already had this built from the previous set and is playing it, and not even playing the new guy that can see their hand. Oh, like what? You just call something in their hand and discard it, and then you can plot it. It doesn't even run that. It's like literally just the standard list you would expect from the previous set. So yeah, and then Anakin Data Vault taking it down. So let's move on to this one. So we got 42 players in China. That's pretty dope. This is something that I feel like this is like the exact kind of spread you would expect for a tournament. Like we got the double Anakin Data Vault here. Kira Green, Han 4 really good. Boba sneaking in there. Palpatine and Han 4 or Vader 4 is kind of interesting. So let's take a look. See if there's anything that stands out. I want to see this Palpatine list and this Vader list. And then this was, 6 rounds plus the top 8. So we get some, some data here. Here, let's take a look. Okay, we got the new Thrawn in here. We got the lurking snub fighter. Interesting. Can exhaust the unit and plot it out. So this has so much of the new stuff. So it has the JNK Power Droid, which I don't know enough about this deck to understand why that's good. Maybe it's to be able to play on curve and then still be able to use Palpatine's ability is the only thing I can think of. Got the new Tarkin here as well in the side. Okay, a couple new additions on the new crazy. This deck was already very powerful before. It doesn't need much, and so I feel like the deck was already so good that it's hard to make the cut. But we got at least 5 to 6 new cards here. A lot of of course going to be hate for space. I think that's pretty expected. So looks like a pretty solid deck. What did it lose to? So it immediately lost round 1. And then ended up winning the next 4, draw, and then lost to Anakin Data Vault. So, but overall, really seeing some new tech from the new set here in a Palpatine list. And then we got Vader 4. Interesting. So, also plays Grindon here. The A-Wings, that makes sense. Has the lurking Snub Fighter. I'm surprised that's so popular. 3 cost 2/3. Maybe it's just for the plot, just because you're so low on cards. Got accelerating our plans here. Coordinate warmongers. Okay, give a unit +3/+3 for this phase. Give each other friendly unit. Okay, that makes sense. Big power swing to be able to go in to try to end the game. This reminds me of like Savage Roar from Hearthstone, OG Hearthstone. Everything else is pretty much the main shell. Screeching Ties, also a new addition. I played a lot of Bo before, and I really like these shuttles in the. Anytime you're space v space decks, having these shuttles are just so powerful. Let's check the side. Okay, so we got the trade route taxation. You know, like a lot of people predicted that. Now they're grading in the side. Everything else is pretty standard there. So cool to see that kind of on the comeback when it comes to space aggro. So is there anything crazy with this Kira here? Looks for the most part standard. Are they playing the new Vader? So this one is doing the new Vader route from the previous set. Some people seem to be cutting that. I haven't played enough to know how I feel about that, about cutting it, like not playing enough Kira to kind of determine that. We got a lot of stuff in the side for going late. Like if you're going against other decks like this, you got the restock, you got double Bazines here, Annihilator to go over the top, restock in the main. So was expecting a very controlling meta here, but went for it. So let's see if they played anyone like that. So first, yeah, already faced a mirror. You know, what are the odds? You mean had all of this tech to be able to go against a late game version of Kira, and then immediately round one faced another Kira and won 1-0. And then immediately had to go a hard pivot from a hard control into space aggro, Anakin, and the Anakin ended up winning. And then we got Han Solo, and then a draw here. Interesting. And then ended up winning out the entire tournament from there on. So drew against a Boba Fett. How slow were they playing? Like that's crazy to draw against the Boba Fett like that. Okay, and then a different one later on. Okay, so that's how he closed it out. All like meta matches to be able to do it. When I look at these Boba 4 lists, I think I need to look at them with a higher power level than I was associating with them in the previous set, because they have gotten quite a bit of good tools in set 6. So we're probably going to see quite a bit more of that, and it's probably going to be a more justified top 8 appearance here in set 6. So final tournament. Let's keep this moving. Final tournament. We got an Admiral Piet win. I think this deck is very powerful. It's just very linear and easy to disrupt, but sometimes it just draws the nuts and can dominate. And so we got that also, 2 of them in the top 8. We also got one at 8th place here. So let's take a look at this list. I bet we could pull these. Let's see if we pull these up, and they're similar. So here's the winning list. I'll move them in the right order. So winning list, they look very similar. Yeah. So not much variation when it comes to these lists, but super good deck. Definitely going to play some more of this just to see how it feels. Something I'm looking forward to here. Just play massive bombs. And I don't really think there's much to say when it comes to this deck. Like everyone knows exactly what it's trying to do. So it took down the win for that tournament. Then we got a Boba also in the second place. Pretty standard list. Got the Rim Outlaws now. Got another shuttle on the side. Yeah, it's running 2 in the main. Yeah, I think that, obviously got the Sentas there. So not much has changed with this deck. Very few changes, but doing very well in these tournaments. Not actually taking them down, but it's still doing really well. Okay, let's see some of the Hantu Blue. This is the main thing I ran in set 5, and really fell off. I think it just gets dominated by Anakin Green. It was already a pretty tough matchup that you really needed to win the initiative on, but now it just gains so many benefits with Karis and all that stuff. I think it puts Ogdo. Ogdo used to just be this like amazing card you can always play turn 1, and can't think of any situation where it would be bad. Whereas now these 3 attack units coming in on turn 1 being so prevalent is a really it's made the Ogdo stocks go down quite a bit. But I just want to see if there's any changes that they've really made to this deck. The few things I would think of are like the Bo-Katan. You can go Rex. You can go and then Karis. I'm sure there's some other things I'm just not thinking about. Interesting. It's a Force version, but it's running Wrecker. I think that's interesting. Triple Mace, which was unusual. I would say it's about 50% of the time people would run Mace. Nowadays, with all these kind of mid-range battles, maybe that has more value. But for the most part, not too much has changed with this deck compared to what it was in set 5. We've got the Rebellious in the side. That's interesting. I wonder what matchups he's looking for that. Got the Maces in the main. Probably go for more aggressive range. Luke's cut to 1. I think that's pretty interesting. And none in the side. It's just down to 1. And then no crates, I bet. Yeah, I was thinking about cutting crates. Yeah, so it's going for a way more mid-range style. Fight for the board. Make the bombs mace to try to go for a 2 to a 3 for 1 there. I also really like that mace gives you the ability to kill something, gain the force. It doesn't need the force to be able to do it. I think the 5 attack probably pretty relevant. Triple Marin. Triple Marin and double Cassian and double Ezra. So yeah, definitely way more low to the ground version and double Red 5. This is so many more 3-drops than I would have ever ran last set. Plus the Wrecker. So I think this is a pretty cool list. I want to give this a shot and see how this feels. I like a lot of the changes here. So, any other things I want to look at? Okay, we got a Talzin, another Kira. I think these are all pretty standard. So feel free to check this out on the Swoop Competitive if you guys want to deep dive more into some of the lists. But those are just my thoughts on the things that stood out to me that I was personally interested in. And now let's actually check the Swoop stats. So I got this filtered for this final week here. And you can see that Anakin Data Vault is going to the moon here in the number of plays, and it's keeping its massive win rate. And then we also got Han 2. People have moved off Han 2 Blue. It's all Han 2 ECL, and a ton of people are playing it still with a pretty high win rate. Interestingly, Sabine getting a ton of play with a crazy win rate here. Actually, this is pretty nuts too, but lower sample size. Surprisingly, a lot of Palp as well. Like the new set 6 Palp. I thought this would get a lot more play. The Han Tarkin, maybe it didn't have the best showing at the recent Beatle tournament. I think if anyone's competitive looking at tournaments to really base their opinions on, it's probably the Beatle tournament still, even though that was a few weeks ago. And I think one top 16, there's actually a friend of mine that top 16 with it, but I don't think anyone else did. So kind of fell off. Maybe people were thinking it was going to be a little bit more relevant in the meta. Cad Bane still getting a lot of play. And we scroll down. I'm also, seems like people just don't like playing against Han. Whenever I would play Han, also the win rate's very low. He's winning all these tournaments and doing so well in these tournaments, but then you look at the matchups this week and then it's like, it's the one with like the worst win percentage. Like, I think, high skill cap deck, but that's interesting to see. But everything else, pretty standard. When it comes to what we'd expect is all the things we're seeing that are doing well at the tournaments, and I think the play rates are reflecting that as well. This is probably the thing to take with the biggest grain of salt out of everything in this video, but I think it's just kind of fun to see what people are looking to play. Because also you got to take it, keep in mind that these people are signed up for the website. I don't believe they can just farm the data unless people actually decide to sign up here. So, okay, but I think that should do it for this video. Curious to hear your guys' thoughts on the meta so far. And with that, guys, I'm out of here. Peace.